Okay. Hi all. Already I think like మీరు ఆల్రెడీ ఫండమెంటల్స్లో వెళ్ళుంటారు. I advised everybody to go through TryHack Me once before. Pawan, did you had any chance to like look into this? Guru Pawan. Pawan voice clear గా లేదు.
Hello.
Yeah, Pawan, did you gone through TryHack Me once?
చూసాను కొంచెం ట్రై చేశాను. అది కూడా అథెంటిసిటీ వల్నరబిలిటీస్ కూడా కొంచెం గోత్రాను.
ఓకే. సో జస్ట్ టు బ్రీఫ్ లైక్ జస్ట్ ఒక చిన్న దానిలాగా. So in cybersecurity we will have like there is a vast scope. There is no role limited to particular area. So but anyhow in our course like we have interdependencies between the three areas which I am showing that is security analyst and penetration tester and security engineer. We are going to cover the penetration testing part for web application in upcoming 3 weeks. I am definitely going to wind up in 21 days only. Even in Saturday and Sunday I will definitely take additional classes. So tomorrow at 11 o'clock also we are having one more session, and evening 7 o'clock we have one more session. Okay. And yeah, as you know, so the first part like or else like the one first primary thing anybody will have in mind is that is none other than SOC, that is Security Operations Center, where we are going to review any organization security. For example, ఒక కంపెనీని మనం తీసుకుంటే, so we will definitely have several areas like coming to network or coming to application security, coming to implementing of governance rules etc. సో ఒక ఆర్గనైజేషన్లో బయట నుంచి ఎవరైనా సరే అటాక్ చేస్తున్నారు or else they are trying to exploit our data, that means like in that area if we are going to cover that called security operations, and the role we are choosing there is security analyst. So what happens if you are a security analyst? So whenever something is going on within the organization, some suspicious activity is going on within the organization, so then you are going to like you are going to analyze, is it really suspicious or is something going on like within the organization, so that we need to take it on priority and all. Okay. So these are the ones like we need to see, that is Security Operations Center. Okay. And I would like to brief about what is an endpoint here. Okay. So don't mind like these tools and all, anyhow we are going to give a like best shot after a while like to explain like what is this about. Let's go for a domain. Okay. So I think most of us are aware about this demo.testfire.net, so which is nothing but a vulnerable applications. I have some other vulnerable applications coming in handy also for our lab purposes. I'll share you with a later point of time. Here it is just a normal application, and I am trying to do some things here. So whenever I am clicking in a web page, you can see some endpoint is here. So this is what we call as an endpoint. Okay. Endpoint is nothing but like if user is trying to reach or if user is trying to check with certain area of a web application or a network port, then it is called as a endpoint. Okay. Is it clear? It's okay, just say okay or something, there is nothing to hesitate. Okay. And
Okay.
So endpoint is nothing but yeah, whenever we are trying to go for particular area of a page, these are all the endpoints we can say. For example, if ఒక authentication related vulnerability చూడాలి, like if we are trying to check something with this area like endpoint where user credentials are supposed to enter and check within, that is called as a login page. So then we call this as an endpoint, and in this endpoint we are going to check the vulnerabilities for authentication. Okay. I'm just briefing okay what is an endpoint. So this can be like this also. You are just seeing like a domain name and there is an endpoint here. So instead of that you can just simply see like that also, like an IP address. One sec. an IP address with a particular port, okay, 443 or any kind of thing, okay. So if this will be also an endpoint, okay. An endpoint might be a domain name which is in text format, a domain name which is in an IP format. That's what I just wanted to say, okay. So if there is an incident coming, if there is an incident reported on a particular area, what is the endpoint, like which area we need to look for? That is the major part, like we are going to see in the security analyst role, that is security operations center, okay. So first thing, ఇప్పుడు ఒక లాగిన్ పేజ్ లో అటాక్ జరుగుతుందా, or else user already login ayyadu and then he is doing some suspicious activity. Once the session is established, then we will where we need to look, that is what our job is. Security analyst is nothing but if some incident is happening within your organization, whether it might be in the applications we provide, services we provide, or network activity we give, whatever it may be, mana organizations ki elanti rakamaina external అటాక్ జరుగుతున్నా సరే, ఇఫ్ దట్ విల్ రిమైండ్ us, ఓకే, దెర్ ఈస్ a suspicious activity going on and we need to review it. That is what our major role in security analyst, okay. But as I mentioned, like we are going to cover majorly, not majorly, we are going to cover this penetration tester part only, that too web application pen testing, okay. This is our primary thing. So whatever we are seeing here, this domain or facebook.com or google.com or anything, like, okay, that is called as a web application. So if we are interacting via web browser to an application or services offered by something, this is an ultra mutual and insurance site, of course this is fake, but still this is a web application, okay. So if we are dealing with this part developed by in HTML, that is what we call as a web application. So we are going to test several kinds of vulnerabilities which comes under this category, okay. I'm just taking reference here, like the topics which we are going to cover. There is nothing to do with all these things, okay. So every topic I am going to cover, there is nothing I am going to leave about. But the thing is, for a topic there will be at least like 5 to 15 labs will be there depending upon the severity. I am going to cover 3 to 4 or maximum 3 to 4 only for a topic. Rest I advise you guys to follow up with the remaining time and totally complete whatever the labs which are going to offer from this Portseeker. This one, and I will share one more application also, that is DAM web vulnerability, which will be which should be configured in Kali Linux. So these are the ones we need to see, okay. So today and tomorrow we are going to cover some fundamentals and authentication related vulnerabilities we are going to check for today and tomorrow, okay. So that's it. So what are the things which are coming under application, that's what we are going to see, okay. And next, what is security engineer role? So security engineer's role is nothing but configuring these two areas in a combined way will comes under security engineer. So as a security engineer, if you are developing an application, so you are supposed to review what are all the components we are using to develop the application. Are they safe? Can they be updated at a later point of time? And how we are going to integrate so many security activities which I am going to explain now. That's called DevSecOps, okay. Enough of this brief. I hope everybody has a clear understanding like what we are going to deal majorly. And if you guys want any kind of like, let's say if you are not understanding this, or if you want more explanation or a real time scenarios how where this can be implemented and all, definitely feel free to reach out me in Discord, okay. That is first thing. Okay, what we are going to cover in this course, okay. So first thing is CIA, that is this is a major trait, that is confidentiality, integrity and availability. If we are developing any application or if we are building any infrastructure within a organization, so we are going to prioritize this CIA trait. That is first part. And next one is cryptography. So if I am communicating in an organization, let's say person A is communicating with person B, so he is sending a message to person B, and we need to make sure whatever the communication is happening within our organization, this should be happening in a secure manner. Nobody should listen to our conversations, and if they do so, they should not understand our configurations. That is the primary goal of a cryptography. So if two endpoints are communicating with each other, we need to make sure that nobody is trying to listen. If they try to, they should not understand. That gives us the edge for cryptography. So if we are entering credentials over a web applications, we need to make sure, or else the application provider needs to make sure that whatever the user is trying to enter the credentials, so it should reach to server in a secure manner, so that my username and password is not supposed to leak to a third party, whether it may be attacker or whoever it may be. That's none of our business, but the primary concern is my data should be safe and secure, and if I am entering it in a web application, it should be treated and trafficked with a safe and secure manner. That is also a very important thing in cyber security. Okay, so there will be three areas which I would like to cover. First one is defensive security, second one is offensive security, okay, and third one we are going to okay, I'm sorry, I didn't add it, but the third one is governance, roles and compliance. So these are the three areas. So what is defensive security? Okay, defensive security is nothing but we are trying to build our applications in a secure manner before itself. Let's say I am trying to build an application like Facebook, or else Instagram, which might be some social media, or I am trying to establish a bank where I am attracting large number of customers, or I am trying to establish an insurance company where data is most important and it should be handled very safely. Okay, so whatever the scenario is, whatever the area is, our primary motive is to secure the data. So before going to the production, or before leaving our application to an internet open thing, we are developing it in a very secure manner. Okay, that is our primary things. So what comes here? SAST. SAST is nothing but it is meant as static application security testing. Static application. So what do we mean by that? The application is not ready to get deployed, or else the application is ready. I developed the application, so I established everything, but still it is not ready to deploy. Like code is written, enough resources for making the code work is also done, but still it is not deployed. So what are we going to cover here? If it is not deployed, we are going to review our code. Did the developers written the code in a secure way? That's what there comes a terminology called secure guidelines for coding. So if I am writing a code, I need to write in a secure way, so that any kind of weak things should not be there in my code. Okay, that is the primary thing. And next comes DAST, dynamic application security testing. Once this phase is done, then we are moving to a next phase where my application is working, but it is not internet based. We are testing it internally. We are deploying in our servers and we are trying to test our application functionality internally. Once this is done, then we are going to move for vulnerabilities assessment. Vulnerability is nothing but if anything suspicious is there, we are going to fix it. Next one is software composition analysis. Software composition analysis is nothing but what are the ingredients I am trying to use for my application. So what are the things I am trying to develop my application. Okay, these are the major things I would like to mention. So these are all comes secondary. Threat hunting, threat modeling, this is all like we are going to discuss this later, but I want you to understand a fundamental thing, that is nothing but defensive security deals with developing phase only. Like when we are trying to develop our application, we need to make sure that all these are implemented in a predefined manner. Like we already know what kind of things will be there, then we are developing our applications accordingly to make sure that it will be rigid when it is deployed in a real time. Okay, that is one thing. So what is offensive security? That's where our part comes, web application penetration testing. Okay. So offensive security means we are acting as a real-time attacker here. So we have several tools, we will have the domain, working domain, the application is already deployed, so many people are using it, but still we choose to attack it. Why? Because we need to review what are all the safety measures the application team has taken, and are they enough to withstand any real-time attack scenarios. That is our primary motive when we are talking about offensive security. Okay. APIs, mobile, okay. I'll discuss this later because API is it is integrated in web application only, but I will give a brief at a later point of time. Like, let's not make it more hasty. Okay. And these are all these are the main things I want to discuss. Like, leave the remaining. So CIA, confidentiality, integrity, availability, CIA trade, cryptography, what is defensive security and what we are dealing there, what is offensive security, how we are handling it there. Okay, these are the ones. Okay. So in CAA trade, as I mentioned, it is important. Like CAA trade, it is a like triangular thing. Confidentiality, C stands for confidentiality. Okay, that means no matter how many users are dealing with our application or interacting with our application, confidentiality means I need to make sure that the details of my customers or the details of the users who are using my application are safe. Nobody is going to extract those details. You may have seen so many news like credentials have been stolen, or else even like sometimes like biggest organizations, let's say even Facebook also faced this issue. So they used to store username and password in a plain text format. It's like just writing our username and password in a notepad. They have done it in past some 2012 or something. At that point of time, attackers stolen those data, and so many user details has leaked in online. Okay, leaked online or dark web, I can say. Okay, so confidentiality is nothing but we need to make sure that our data, user data, remains private, and only the data, if I am going to access, it should be mine only. As an as a user, I am logging in with my credentials, and I should be able to see my data only, not others one. Okay, this is the thing, and my data should be encrypted, and it should be stored in a safe way. That is what we are talking when we are dealing with confidentiality. Then what is integrity? Integrity is unauthorized modification should not be there. For example, there are three users here. So user number 1, user number 2, and user number 3. So these three people are registered in a particular application, and they are using, like, they are just logging in, they are just seeing the posts, or they are reading the blogs, like whatever the application is offering for them to do, they are trying to do it. But the major thing is user 1 should not see the user 2 data. So whether by altering some things within the application, or trying to attack, like take advantage of any vulnerabilities within the application, so user 1 should not see the data of remaining users, and he should not modify any other user's data. If he done any changes to the data, belongs to him, it should be him only. Nobody should tamper with others data, or else like whatever the action I do as a user, if I am doing something, whether it might be damaging the application, or whether it might be accessing my application as I supposed to do, these all should be recorded. That's where the terminology logs comes. LOGS. Logs is nothing but if some activity is happening within our application, we are recording it to make sure that we can review at a later point of time if it feels suspicious. That is the major thing about integrity. Okay, and next is availability. So we will implement so many security measures, or we will implement so many mechanisms per application, but that does not let any other user to take like, I should not get a laggy response. So if I am logging in Facebook, what will happen? First I need to enter my user credentials, my username and password, and this username and password should go to the server, verification should happen, and server should say okay, this is the appropriate user, he provided a valid credentials, and it will establish a session for me, and this will happen in the backend. By there should not be a case where strict implementation of confidentiality and integrity should not delay the availability. That means my response when I am accessing the application, like how fast the application should answer to me. So if I am asking something to application to give me, if I need to check bank balance, if I am clicking something, instantly I need to see the balance. It should not take a lot more time to just test our patients. Okay, availability is also the data and services whatever the applications are offered, this should be accessible when user wants to do so. That is the main thing. So CAA trade is like that only. So why this is important? You may have if we go for a real time use cases, so many people are logging into Netflix or Amazon Prime to just watch a movie. At the same time the servers will crash, you won't able to see the movie. So what the application is supposed to do, it should make the data, like in our case it is a movie or series or something, it should be available to the user who is registered. So we need to balance these three things: confidentiality, integrity and availability. We need to balance these three things. So if you see this brief here, so confidentiality provides protection for the data from unauthorized access. So my data should not be seen, or it should not be stolen from any other user or external factors within my application. That is what confidentiality is about. Integrity: only authorized users should tamper the data. So if somebody is going to change my bank balance or trying to transfer something, it should be me only, no other user should do that. And at the same time I should also not supposed to see the other users data. This is a primary thing. Okay, availability: and whenever any user wants to have his own data, it should be there. So balancing these three things are the primary concern of any application developer. Okay, this is the primary part. You should definitely remember this terminology because they will ask you in interview for sure. What is CIA trade? Very fundamental question. You should not skip this. Okay, what is CIA trade? You should be able to answer. It's confidentiality, integrity and availability, and you need to explain what confidentiality is, you need to explain what integrity is and what is availability is. Okay, so there will be several vulnerabilities which we can categorize for confidentiality and integrity and availability. When we are dealing about database and logging, it comes under integrity. When we are dealing with availability, we are talking about so many real-time attacks like denial of service attacks, which will come under this part, and user related authentication services will come under this part. We are going to deal in a later point of time, but I request you to remember this fundamental thing. Even like at any cost, you need to understand this and you should be able to answer if you are asked in interview. Next, cryptography. As I mentioned, cryptography is nothing but we are dealing with what kind of security mechanisms we are implementing when two users are communicating with each other. If me and my friend was just talking in WhatsApp, it should not be seen if somebody hacked our phones. Even you may be aware that like whenever you are updating WhatsApp, you will be checking okay, WhatsApp is coming with more encryption standard, more cryptographic standards. That's what it is about. So why this is important? To ensure data privacy, to secure our application browsing thing, and to make sure like whatever activity we are doing within our application, it should be hidden and no third party should be accessed. The attacks which will come if we are failing to implement cryptography properly is called as man-in-middle attacks. Man-in-middle attacks means when two people are communicating, if a third person or third party attacker is trying to listen or trying to tamper the data, if he is able to understand, if he is able to modify, then what will happen? Integrity will collapse. The other user will think that I am sending this message, but he don't know that some third person is involved here and he is tampering my messages, which may convey different meaning other than what I am trying to do. So that is what cryptography is about. Okay, so cryptography ensures all these things. Okay, confidentiality. So when I am entering username and password, only authorized users can access my information, and data cannot be modified without detection. That is what also thing. And non-repudiation. Let's say if I commented on somebody's post very nastily and I say that is not me, this will be answerable because cryptography made sure that I only logged in, I only commented, and with the help of logs, like whatever the logs means, records of user activity, so they will make sure, okay, this is the person who logged in from particular IP address, he made this comment at that point of time, so he is accountable, he is answerable. Okay, and authentication, so everything, these all the features will be like very helpful if the cryptography is implemented, and these days it is mandatory. We are going to see some cryptography standards, but just for definition purpose, this is all you need to remember. Okay, so I think types of cryptography is, yeah, this is essential also. So there are two types of cryptography, one is symmetric and second one is asymmetric. So how we are going to deal with this? One second, let me give an example. You are able to see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I have typed here is just a cyber security, and if I want to encode this, here you can see some multiple algorithms are there. So if I just want to change the format of here by using any kind of algorithms here, so base 64, here you can see the text which I have given is cyber security, but the output which I am seeing here is something which I am unable to understand. Okay, let's do this reverse, or else like you can see. Okay, the one which I had chosen here is base 64, but if I want to retry it again or else decode as base 64, then again I should get the text as cyber security. So just for your understanding, I am saying this is base 64 is a very outdated encoding formula. There are so many new things came. So just for example, I am just trying to show you, okay, how we are going to modify the data. So we choose an algorithm, it will convert our raw data into some data which is unreadable, and this is what we call as cipher text. This is raw text, that's what user is giving, and the converted text by use of any kind of algorithm is called as cipher text. Okay, and okay, this is the one. So if I am sending a message and I am using an algorithm, it will have a key to change this into cipher text, and if the end user is decrypting these things, I mean, this is called encryption. So converting this raw data by using any kind of security algorithm into some unreadable format is called as encryption, and converting this cipher text or else the unreadable data into a readable format again is called as decryption. Okay, so the symmetric and key cryptography means there will be only a single key. Like if I am sending a data, so I am just making it as a ciphertext by using a common key, like me and the end user will have this key, and if I am sending something, nobody who is meddling before, I mean in interfering in between us, not able to decrypt the data without this key. So we need to make this common key as secure. Okay, so these are the examples like data encryption standard or advanced encryption standard AES algorithm. So these will be the things. Okay, so and there is asymmetric key cryptography because there will be two keys here for encryption and decryption. This is the primary difference between these two. Okay, if you notice here, just by telling in a normal way, we can say that handling a single key is easy. It won't give us much protection when we are using two keys, right? So the scenarios where we are using a symmetric key and the scenarios where you are using asymmetric key completely differs. Okay, so if I am just casually like I authenticated myself and I am trying to see some data or else contacting with some other person, this will be enough because I am already a verified user. So the cost of uh, maintaining the like whatever the data exchange we are dealing here will be low, but dealing with asymmetric key cryptography, like this should be more secure compared to this. So people will ask you in interviews or any kind of thing, so which areas we are going to check with I mean this is symmetric key will come into priority and which areas asymmetric key comes into priority. I can give a general example like this. So if you are trying to read some blogs, if you are trying to make some comments on the blog, symmetric key cryptography is enough because that is a public domain. Okay, so they should be less secure because all the information which is there in the particular application is supposed to watch by public and the comments made will can be read by public. Maybe just authenticating myself or giving my name or my picture or my mobile number is essential, but public data will be an example. But what is asymmetric key cryptography comes place? So logging into my bank accounts, it should be pure private. Like the scenario of security requires or scenario of security demand is bit higher in asymmetric key cryptography. Okay, that is a major thing. So this is the primary difference I would like to say. But I advise you, after this session or maybe tomorrow before another session, please make a note of these two things and check with what is the standard, like why this is, I mean which standard is more thing. Okay, that is one. So as I mentioned, this is what these two you need to check with on. And next, coming to defensive security. So as I mentioned, like we need to review our code, we need to make sure like whatever the components which we are using in our application, those should be secure. So from the building itself, from the thought of itself, like from the thought of developing an application itself, we are reviewing all the possible ways to build our application in a secure way, and we need to make sure those components involved can be updated at a later point of time. That's what we deal with defensive security. Why it is essential? Because if I am developing an application and if I have knowledge about what are all the attack vectors or what are all the possible vulnerabilities or attacks which I can get from my application, then I can try to build it with more things. So you can just simply, for early detection, for early prevention, and to respond in a timely manner, we need defensive security. Okay, for that, as I mentioned, static application security testing is essential. This we call as a white box testing methodology, because you will have the source code to your hands. Just one more, I would like to add three scenarios here. There will be three types of testing if you check: white box testing, black box testing, and gray box testing. Theoretically, if we talk, white box testing means you will be given everything. You may be given source code, you may be given domain, you may be given a valid set of user credentials. They will give you everything, and they will try to ask you to perform certain attacks and to test the application. You have everything you need. That's called as white box testing, and you don't have anything to take advantage of, because you don't know, maybe you just know it is facebook.com, you don't know anything other than that. You don't have a valid set of credentials, you don't know what functions they used, what kind of components they used to build the application, so you don't know anything. That's what we call as black box testing. You don't have any idea other than just a hint to go with the testing. Gray box is the one we do in our organizations. They don't give you everything. At the same time, you will have idea about what you are testing. That's what what we call as gray box testing. Okay, and this is the thing. So why we are implementing SAST? As I mentioned, early detection of the vulnerabilities. We can analyze the code and check for any kind of rule violations or potential areas where we can improve the syntax, etc. Okay, so this can be done by using automated scans or secure coding culture means like we already know how to write our code so in a secure manner, so everything kind of. So these are the tools which I can give as an example: Veracode, HCL AppScan, Cloud Defense AI, etc. So I would just like to show you how this works. This is just for theoretical part only. We are not covering majorly on how we are trying to review the code here. So all I just want to show you is how things work. Okay, so SonarQube is also like a tool for thing. So as you can see, okay, so let me take with one vulnerability. Credentials means username and password or any kind of information which can try to log in into application. Okay, as you can see, how this is how the code works. Okay, so when you are uploading the code to the tool, it will give you like this is a non-compliant code. That means this code is having some issue, it should not be written in this format, and the tool will suggest you to change your code in a secure syntax. What is the difference between these three here is you can see a static data S3CR37. okay, this is a static thing. Okay, we don't know what this is. This may be a username or this may be a password, but this is usable somewhere within our application. And if you see how we can try to modify this thing, you can see you are just mentioning a secret here, and there is no raw data is there and it is getting attached here. There is no need to panic. What I am just trying to say is the tool will show you this is the area where you need to update your syntax, and this should be a possible a possible way to write that. Okay, so it will show you what would be the vulnerability and it will advise you how to remove the vulnerability also. That's what these tools do. Okay, and DAST. DAST is nothing but it will be a real-time thing, like the domain is ready and we are just scanning the application. Let me give you this in Burpsuit. Okay, since this is community edition, this is not a valid one, like not a licensed tool. So this is just a free version of it, so we are not able to see, but you are able to see new scan here. Okay, so new scan, how we are going to do this means like we are just giving a website here. For example, if I am giving a new scan, so this is this will just simply go through all the like endpoints within the application and it will give the potential vulnerabilities. That what DAST would do, but I will try to give a brief, like I will try to give a demo about it also with some real-time thing. Okay, and so why DAST is important? So we are dealing with real-time scenarios here. In source code, I am talking about only code-related issues and only the components which are developing there, like only the components whatever we used in our technologies, like we used to develop our application, it will be there. So we are trying to review that only. It is not working. But in DAST, we are dealing with real-time scenarios here. That is a major difference and the one and only difference. Okay, and they will ask you in interviews, okay, what is the primary difference between SAST and DAST? And you can simply answer SAST is a fundamental way of dealing application security. We are dealing with strong code, we are dealing with logical related issues, etc. But under DAST, we are dealing with real-time scenarios to make sure that our application is hard enough. Okay, as I mentioned, SCA means software composition analysis. So whatever the things which we are using to develop our application, that will comes under software composition analysis, and we need to make sure these can be updated at a later point of time. Today I am just using some version of Java or using certain frameworks, and tomorrow if it is having any vulnerability, if it is not updatable, then that is a failure. Okay, so we need to make sure that whatever the components we are using, these should be updated at a point of time. So there are tools for it also. For example, if I am using a JavaScript or something, or if I am using some certain package, it will be available in open source also. Like you can just download from outside, like we can download Java, Python and install in our systems, right? But how do we know whatever we are installing is a safe package, is a original package? So for that reason, there will be multiple tools like JFrog or Sneak.io. So these are the ones we can say. Okay, so if these are, they will give you packages making sure that these are reliable ones, original ones. Okay, for that we have tools also. JFrog is a example. As I mentioned, like why SE is essential. So to make sure that the components are safe, and if some component is having an issue, we are trying to update. So what? Okay, I'm talking about components. Is it related only to application? No. Server hosted ones, and let's say every application will definitely should have a server, right? So if user, one second. ఏమైంది?
ఏపీ అండ్ థర్డ్ పార్టీ
అది ఏపీ వదిలేసే జస్ట్ ఒక బ్రీఫ్ ఇచ్చాను నేను అంతే.
ఇప్పుడు బేస్ 64 అంటే మనం ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ చేసిన తర్వాత డేటా ఫార్మాట్ బేస్ 64 ఉంటారు.
బేస్ 64 అనేది ఎన్కోడింగ్ అల్గారిథం అనమాట. ఎన్కోడింగ్కి ఎన్క్రిప్షన్కి డిఫరెన్స్ ఏంటి అంటే, ఎన్కోడింగ్ ఈజ్ వీఆర్ చేంజింగ్ ద ఫార్మాట్. ఓకే, సో ఇట్ కెన్ బి HTML ఆర్ ఎనీథింగ్, ఏదైనా ఏంటంటే JSON ఇవన్నీ ఎన్కోడింగ్ థింగ్స్ అనమాట. సో ఇన్స్టెడ్ ఆఫ్ రైటింగ్ ఇన్ రా టెక్స్ట్ ఫార్మాట్ వీఆర్ చేంజింగ్ ద ఫార్మాట్. బట్ ఎన్క్రిప్టింగ్ ఈజ్ డిఫరెంట్. ఎన్క్రిప్టింగ్ ఏంటంటే ఒక కీ తోటి మనం చేస్తాం, ఒక పర్టికులర్ అల్గారిథం తోటి చేస్తాం, వితౌట్ డిపెండింగ్.
ఇప్పుడు JSON అంటే చూసామనుకో మనకు అర్థమవుతుంది లైట్ గా. ఇప్పుడు మనము బేస్ 64 చూసామంటే అది ఎంత గజిబిజిగా ఆల్ఫాబెట్ ఆల్ఫాన్యూమరిక్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఓకే, అర్థమైంది.
కొన్ని ఎన్కోడింగ్ ఉంటుంది.
ఈ కంటే
Yeah, one second. సో ఎనీహౌ ఎవరు క్వశ్చన్ అడిగింది? ఓకే ఓకే. సో ఇప్పుడు నేను మీకు ఇందాక బర్బ్ సూట్లో ఇక్కడ నేను చూపించింది డీకోడర్ అనేది, దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ఎన్కోడింగ్ అండ్ డీకోడింగ్. వాట్ ఈస్ ఎన్కోడింగ్ అండ్ డీకోడింగ్ ఈస్ వీఆర్ జస్ట్ చేంజింగ్ ద ఫార్మాట్. ఓకే, బట్ దెర్ ఈస్ అ డిఫరెన్స్ బిట్వీన్ ఎన్కోడింగ్ అండ్ ఎన్క్రిప్టింగ్. Okay, MD5 is an algorithm. Okay, so if I am trying my name here and if I want to encrypt it, this value will be there. ఓకే, సో ఇప్పుడు ఇందులో ఎందుకు ఇది ఇంపార్టెంట్ అంటే, ఇప్పుడు నేను ఇలా కాకుండా ఇది బేస్65 కాదు, MD5 అనేది వన్ సపరేట్ ఎన్క్రిప్షన్ అల్గారిథం. ఓకే, యాజ్ యూ కెన్ సీ. ఓకే, సో ఇప్పుడు నేను ఇక్కడ ఎంత చేంజెస్ చేసిన ఏంటంటే, మోర్ ఆర్ లెస్ ద క్యారెక్టర్స్ విల్ రిమైన్ సేమ్. ఇఫ్ యూ సీ, నేను 5 వర్డ్స్ ఇచ్చినా ఇన్ని క్యారెక్టర్స్లో వస్తుంది, 10 వర్డ్స్ ఇచ్చినా ఇంతే వస్తుంది. ఓకే, యూ కెన్ సీ సేమ్. ఓకే, ద క్యారెక్టర్స్ రిమైన్ సేమ్. యూ గాట్ మై పాయింట్. సో ఇది జస్ట్ ఒక పర్టికులర్ అల్గారిథం తోటి నేను ఇక్కడ ఒక టెక్స్ట్ మొత్తం రాసినా సరే, సేమే వస్తుంది, సేమ్ నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ క్యారెక్టర్స్ వస్తుంది. సో దీని ఏంటంటే హ్యాషింగ్ వాల్యూస్ అని అంటారు అనమాట. నేను ఇది కూడా చెప్తాను మళ్ళీ. సో ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఇది ఓకే, లెట్ మీ గివ్ యూ దిస్ కేస్ లైక్, ఒకసారి ఇక్కడ డిస్కౌంట్లో నేను పేస్ట్ చేస్తున్నా, ఇది తర్వాత చూడండి. సో ఇవన్నీ ఏంటంటే టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ డీక్రిప్షన్, టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ ఎన్క్రిప్షన్ అనేవి ఉంటాయి. ఇవి రకరకాలుగా ఉంటాయి నెట్వర్క్లో కానీ అట్లాగా. ఓకే, యా ఎనీహౌ లైక్ యూ ఆస్ట్ కదా, ఇంకొకటి బ్రీఫ్ చూపిస్తాను నేను. ఇట్ వుడ్ బి గుడ్. సో ఇందాక నేను ఏం చెప్పాను, లైక్ ఇఫ్ వీఆర్ గివింగ్ ఏ డొమైన్, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నీ demo.testfed.not అనేది నాకు ఇచ్చారు, దీన్ని నన్ను టెస్ట్ చేయమన్నారు. సో వాట్ ఐ సెడ్, that is called a white box testing, because I know what is the domain is, I know what technologies they have built this application, and I know what are the valid credentials to check with this. Okay, but if I don't know anything, how I am going to do with this? So now I will just go through this. Okay, so I'm just checking. Okay, not here. First I need to go to explore. One second. Beyond the thing. One second, not here. ఇప్పుడు నా కంపెనీలో, ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నువ్వు జాయిన్ అయ్యావు, నువ్వు ఆర్గనైజేషన్లో ఆల్రెడీ వర్క్ చేస్తున్నావు. ఓకే, వాళ్ళు అప్లికేషన్ నీకు ఇచ్చినప్పుడు నీకు ఇస్తారు డొమైన్ ఏంటి అని. బట్ నువ్వు థర్డ్ పార్టీ లాగుండి, నాకు ఏదో ఫేస్బుక్ ఒక ఐపీ అడ్రస్ ఏదో తెలిసింది, నాకు అంతకుమించి ఏం ఐడియా లేదు అని అన్నావు అనుకో, నువ్వేం చేయాలి అని అంటే, దీన్ని మనం సారీ ఏదో అంటారు దీన్ని, ఫేస్ని లైక్ స్టాకింగ్ అవి ఉన్నావు అన్నావు, ఏమంటారు దీన్ని ఫేస్ని? Reconnaissance means like gathering information on whatever we have. So what I just testfed.net అని ఇచ్చా, demo.testfed.net అని చెప్పి. సో ఇక్కడ చూడు, సో సర్వర్స్ ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయి, ఎప్పుడు రిజిస్టర్ అయింది, లైసెన్స్ ఎవరిది. ఓకే, సో యూ కెన్ సీ ఏ లాట్ ఆఫ్ డీటెయిల్స్ హియర్, రైట్? సో ఈ టైప్లో మనం ఏం చేయాలంటే, డీటెయిల్స్ అన్నిటిని గ్యాదర్ చేసుకుంటా వెన్ వీ రీచ్ ద సర్టైన్ పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ టైమ్, వీ షుడ్ కలెక్ట్ మోర్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అండ్ వీ షుడ్ ట్రై టు ఎక్స్ప్లాయిట్ లైక్ దట్. ఓకే, సో ఐ కెన్ సీ. బట్ ఇప్పుడు నాది ప్రైవేట్ అప్లికేషన్ అయినప్పుడు, for example, if we are talking about internet facing application, that is different, because anybody is supposed to see the data. But if my application is private, there should not be that much information outside, right? So that's where we need to make sure that whatever the technologies we used, so this should not be there. Okay, so this is the difference between white box and black box, I would like to say. As I mentioned, how the traffic works. Okay, so first, as a client, I would like to contact with server to verify myself. Okay, so what I do, I enter my credentials and the server verifies itself, and from the database it will retrieve the appropriate data. If I verified myself, if authentication is done, then only I can able to access my data. That's what it's supposed to be. So, okay, and let's say this is the major application. Okay, and what is API? If this application is interacting with any other application, that's where API comes. దీనికి నేను ఒక క్లియర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇస్తాను మీకు. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఫేస్బుక్ ఉంది, ఫేస్బుక్ కాదు, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ Amazon.com ఉంది, మీరు ప్రోడక్ట్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకుంటారు అండ్ యూ వాంట్ టు బై ఎ ప్రోడక్ట్. ఓకే, సో వాట్ యూ విల్ డూ, లెట్స్ సే లైక్ దిస్ ఈజ్ Amazon.com. ఓకే, సో ఈ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ ఇక్కడ కూడా ఉంటుంది. సో వాట్ విల్ యూ డూ, అండ్ ఓకే లెట్ మీ యాడ్ వన్ మోర్ థింగ్ హియర్, దట్ ఈస్ ఎ బ్యాంక్. ICICI, let's take one bank. Okay, so what happens in general? Okay, సో ఈ ఒకసారి ఈ డేటాని ఇక్కడ తీసుకోండి. సో అమెజాన్లో ఫ్రమ్ ఎ క్లయింట్ అండ్ ఐ వుడ్ లైక్ టు అథెంటికేట్ మై సెల్ఫ్ అండ్ ఐ లాగ్డ్ ఇన్ టు అమెజాన్ అండ్ సర్వర్ ఈస్ గివింగ్ మీ ఆల్ మై డేటాబేస్. వాట్ ఈస్ మై డేటాబేస్ ఇఫ్ ఐ లాగ్ ఇన్ టు అమెజాన్? ద ప్రోడక్ట్ ఐ am searching or the addresses which I added or the previous shopping things which I have done. So everything is my data. That is one thing. Okay, and if I choose a product, then what is the next step? I need to authenticate a payment, whether by giving my bank credentials or something. Then who needs to approve the payment? The bank itself. Is Amazon a bank? No. My payment is completely different here, right? API is nothing but application programming index. That's what the definition of API. What does an application programming interface do? It will try to build a bridge between two applications to make the user activity a success. So from Instagram, if I want to try or buy a product, then what I can do? I need to authenticate my payment and I need to, once the payment is confirmed, this API will tell the Amazon that payment is credited to you and you can deliver the product. And again one more API comes here. What is it? That is delivery thing. Delivery agents will be different, right? Whether it might be DTDC or seller. Okay, so seller needs to deploy the product, seller needs to deliver the product to you. Okay, that will be a different API. So once Amazon tells that I received payment and this will be transferred to you, user has done the payment. So API is a common block for multiple applications which is necessary when they want to coordinate with each other. Is it clear, everybody? What is API? Application Programming Index. Sandeep, Abhi, Naveen? Okay, so that's what API is about. Okay, so now you came to know, okay, what is an API and what is SAST, what is DAST, what is software composition analysis, etc. Okay,
మనకి DAST ఎక్కువ యూజ్ చేస్తాము, డైనమిక్ టెస్టింగ్ ఎక్కువ యూజ్ చేస్తాము.
Dynamic testing, I'm not sure, but it depends completely. Like it's not always like dynamic testing. Every area is important only. But as a web application tester, you guys needs to majorly deal with DAST and manual testing only. Source code review will be treated as a different part, but it will be in the same team only. Okay. So
coding నేర్చుకోవాలన్నా?
You need to understand the code. Yeah, you need to understand the code. Only if you are reviewing the code. Like SAST part lo undi nu chustunna annappudu maatrame it is necessary, but apart there is no need for learning code etc. But you need to understand the code. Endukante nuvu application code understand cheskokunda there is no way you can try to crack it. You don't know what payloads you need to give. Okay, you don't know what input you need to give to tamper the application functionality if you don't know the code. Got it? సో ఎసెన్షియల్ అంటే ఇవి డిఫాల్ట్ ఉంటాయి. నేను చెప్తాలే, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇప్పుడు SQL ఇంజెక్షన్ చేయాలనుకుంటే దెర్ విల్ బి అ లాట్ ఆఫ్ సోర్సెస్ విచ్ విల్ గివ్ ద పేలోడ్స్. ఓకే, బట్ యూ నీడ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ వేర్ యూ నీడ్ టు అప్లోడ్, వేర్ యూ నీడ్ టు అప్లై ద పేలోడ్. దట్ ఈస్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో దట్ కెన్ బి హ్యాపెన్ ఓన్లీ ఇఫ్ యూ అండర్స్టాండ్ ద కోడ్. ఓకే, so once I have developed my application, once I have established all the network things etc, so everything is done, then what is the next part which I should do, which any application should do, is threat hunting. Threat hunting means what kind of threats are there for my application, how I am going to tackle them. I am going to tackle them by these two areas, that is indicators of compromise or indicators of attack. So if something suspicious activity is happening, that is called as indicator of compromise. So if some inappropriate behavior, so I'm working in my organization, so I'm reporting from Hyderabad or Bangalore, anywhere, and suddenly I logged in from New York. That is a suspicious activity, because my office people don't know that I am working from New York. They only know that okay, he is a guy, like he is already there reporting. So suddenly I logged in Hyderabad, and out of nowhere there is one more login in New York. What that means? That means my account is compromised. Somebody is takeover of my credentials or something, and they successfully able to log in. So that is a suspicious activity, right? So by analyzing these kinds of inappropriate behaviors, or else me trying multiple times giving wrong passwords, what that mean? My username is leaked, or somebody knows what is my username is, and they are trying different combinations of passwords. Okay, so that's how, like, we need to make sure. So threat hunting is comes under a different thing. Threat handling, threat modeling, that is a pure different scenario which is linked to application testing, but you should know what is threat hunting. Okay, I mean, at least theoretically. So threat hunting is like we are trying to review our total thing, and we are trying to think. Threat intelligence is we are already had data, like I mentioned, that is an indicator of compromise. So if suddenly okay, user ఇక్కడ login అవ్వాల్సిన some other from some other area, if we are having a login request, that is a suspicious behavior, that's called intelligence. So if these kinds of rules are already there, for example, if some user is logging in from application, give me an alert, then this will go to security operations center. That's what threat intelligence is about. Threat hunting is we are checking whether this is this exists in our application or not. Okay, similarity it will be there, but you need to understand the core thing. And the peak area of SOC is SIEM, that is security information and event management. So if any kind of malicious activity or suspicious activity is happening, this team will be looking at it. Okay, SOC here I already given you a brief. Yeah, okay, offense done. Okay, so types of penetration testing. So we are dealing with application testing, but there are so many areas are there. So if every application, like every organization will have a network, so they will have a router to connect to the internet to work within the organization, so they will have a VPNs, they will have different kinds of configuration, and if any kind of configuration is not configured properly, like firewall is not configured properly, then we will be in trouble. So if we are dealing with that kind of security activity, that is called as network penetration testing, we are testing manually. And if we are targeting web applications, that will be coming under web application TPT. And for wireless penetration testing, we are dealing with Wi-Fi related thing. Social engineering is nothing but whatever the information I can gather on a particular thing. So as Abhi told that reconnaissance or like gathering data from open sources. So if I am just searching my name in Google, and if it is giving me my date of birth, my last checked location, what are the apps I am using, then I'm just like like dumb, I can say. So you should not give all your details to Google or anywhere, it should not be found. So you should limit your information which you are posting socially, so that it may lead to anything. Okay, and cloud PT, that is cloud penetration testing. So there are so many areas where PT applies, and we are focusing on web application penetration testing. Okay, so nowadays I think everybody is aware there is a generative AI model. I just want to give you a brief on this also. I will just give it in a practical way. So phases of penetration testing. So how we are going to test our application. The first one is planning and scoping. So what is the application I am going to test, and what this application is performing in real time, and what are the rules of engagement. Let's say if application is already deployed, for example, if I am testing an ICICI bank server itself, I should not perform activities in a suspicious manner for a long time, because real time users will get affected by it. Okay, so for this purpose, mostly in organizations wherever we are getting jobs or getting work, so we don't get real time applications. We will get applications which are deployed in a local way, like in QA phase. Okay, there are three phases. That is developing phase, where we are writing code. That is, next one is QA, where we are deploying for testing, and third one is production, where real time interactions will happen. That is the thing. Okay, so first phase of penetration testing is we need to know our limitations, we need to know our scope, and we need to specify what is the goal of my testing. Am I testing only authentication part? Am I testing any other area which is giving me edge over the application, etc. And second one is recanons. Once I know what is my role and limitations, then I need to gather information of the application as much as possible. That is one thing. And then I am going for scanning and enumeration. I will give you a brief with the Nmap for tomorrow's session. And once we have identified the vulnerabilities, then we need to check how far we can try to exploit those things. Once we exploit the things, we need to we need to take necessary screenshots, document how we did it, and post exploitation we need to check the impact, how the application is the application totally shut down, our users are getting impacted, our services are getting delayed. So there is multiple areas here. So this is the phases of penetration testing. Okay, and I'm going to end with this topic theoretically, and then I will just give you a brief with the comment browser how AI testing can be performed. Okay, so governance, risk and compliance. What is governance? So governance is nothing but if a user is using the application or if a user is doing something, what is his role? If I am giving an open blog, like if I am writing something and just blogging is my hobby, any user can come and comment. Okay, that is his only thing, but any user should not tamper my data. Okay, so governance is nothing but what is the role, like what is the responsibility of a user. Okay, how many rights we can give, whether he just only read or he can try to tamper data or he can try to add some other data. So this is the major thing we are dealing about when we are talking about governance. Then what is risk? Okay, so let's say I have given or else certain roles and limitations to a particular user, then what are the ways he can try to cross them and attack my application? What could be a potential risk? What could be a potential threat for my application? Okay, these are the ones which I need to check. Okay, and how I am going to mitigate it, how I am going to track all these things in real time. Okay, so this is the one. And third one is compliance. So let's say if I mean మనందరికీ రూల్స్ తెలుసు. టు బి సింప్లీగా చెప్పాలంటే ఇండియాలో if I want to establish a bank, I need to abide by the rules set by RBI. If I am trying to establish a company, I need to abide the rules. There will be some compliance board. Like that only, if I am trying to build a website, if I am trying to build a domain for whatever the purposes, these are digitally applicable. Okay, so these are the guidelines I need to follow when I am trying to build my application. That is what called as compliance. This GDPR, which will be comes under European region, HIPAA, US insurance something, ISO 27001, these are general things. So when I am dealing with some products, these are the ones. Okay, so every time external audit will be there. So if my company like which I am currently working is developing a product, I need to make sure that product is developed according to the policies or according to this compliance. Okay, so for that reason external people will come, government people will come, private audit people will come, and they need to make sure that we are following the guidelines. So if we are keeping a hotel, we need to make sure that sanitized properly, everything is there. Okay, that is one thing. Like that, if we are building an application, we need to follow certain guidelines. We need to make sure that all are implemented. That is GRC. Okay, this is also like I'm just giving you a theoretical input only. Okay, this comes under like security engineer role, which I mentioned before. Okay, so that's one thing. So these are the frameworks which we can think. Okay, so theoretically that's it for today, guys. But there is just one more I need to share with you. This is just simple. I think many of you might have already tried. One second. I think I didn't download that comment. I think these days everybody know what is comment browser or AI agent related browser. Why these are considered to be dangerous? I think there is a news you should, I mean, you guys might be aware of. One second, let me note the down first. Okay, already downloaded. I won't take much time, guys. Maybe just 5 to 10 minutes more. I just want to you guys to know why the like Amazon recently banned the use of Comet browser for them. Okay, we use several browsers like Opera or Firefox, Chrome, Edge, right? But this Comet browser is a bit dangerous. Why it is dangerous? I just want you to just showcase. That's it.
ఇట్ ప్రాంప్ట్ ఇంజెక్షన్స్ చేసి డేటా థెఫ్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం అని చెప్పేసి చెప్పారు.
Huh?
కామెంట్ ఇండైరెక్ట్ ప్రాంప్ట్ ఇంజెక్షన్స్ చేసి డేటా థెఫ్ట్ చేసుకున్నా అని చెప్పేసి ఆర్టికల్ ఇచ్చారు.
No.
కామెంట్ ఆల్సో దట్స్ వై దే ఆర్ నాట్ యూజింగ్ దిస్.
నేను కొంచెం నీ వాయిస్ ఏంటంటే గట్టిగా మాట్లాడుతున్నావా లేకపోతే నాకు సౌండ్ ఎక్కువ వినిపిస్తుంది అర్థం కావట్లేదు ఇక. మళ్ళీ చెప్పు.
ఇండైరెక్ట్ ప్రాంప్ట్ ఇంజెక్షన్ యూజ్ చేసి డేటా థెఫ్ట్ చేస్తున్నారు అని చెప్పేసి ఇది వాడతా చెప్తున్నాను. లైక్ హైజాక్ చేస్తున్నారు డేటా అని చెప్పేసి.
అవును. Okay. So here all you guys see there is a tab called assistant. Okay. So let's open amazon.in. Here you can see variable products and all, various products and all. So now I just give a simple prompt like give me a best deal for iPhone or else Samsung S25 Ultra. Crawl through reviews and sellers to filter out spam. So if you can see, once నేను ప్రాంప్ట్ ఇచ్చాక, సో once I'm done giving it the prompt, like I'm doing nothing, the just browser is crawling itself. Okay, see, you can see what's happening here. So it's just checking the task list or doing something. So whatever the command I have given, so it is just trying to analyze all the things. It will just go through the sellers, it will try to read the reviews, etc. But it will just give me the best deal. Okay, why this is dangerous or something, or considered to be dangerous, is because if I logged in, if I am able to log in this Amazon, Perplexity will automatically know what my credentials are. For example, if I am booking an IRCTC ticket and by logging in the credentials, I can just simply give my credentials in the prompt. Okay, these are my credentials. Log in at 11 o'clock. Book a Tatkal ticket for me, and the train should be this and all. So if I give every detail here without me interacting in a real time, it will get scheduled automatically and my task will be done. Okay, So why Amazon or any kind of like third party users are opposing these opposing this means like there is no security for data. Okay, that is a primary concern. Now you can see it gone through everything and it given me a best price for a 256 GB thing and whatever the only one left in stock. Okay, better mainstream and all. So if I am shopping or ticket booking or if I am doing something, this is an issue. Then why? Okay, then how we can go with the security thing? I'll just take the same application demo.testify.net. Okay, so now I am mentioning perform an SQL injection attack and find valid credentials. So what I am asking here is I am asking the AI agent to perform any kind of injection attack and to find some user credentials. Okay, or else I can just go through admin credentials. Okay, now you can see obviously the page will get taken control by the Comet browser and whatever the test cases which we are going to perform in upcoming sessions. I mean, it may not be 100% accurate, but definitely there is a possibility that it will just do at least 40 to 60% of data. See, it just given a simple SQL command and some password, anything, like you can type anything here I guess, but you are able to log in. Okay, this is admin account. So I did nothing. I didn't given any payloads, I didn't given anything, but I came to know that this will be working. Let's try now. Okay, so I'm just signing off here and try to sign in here again. I'm just giving the username here and giving password as some random whatever the values, that doesn't matter. If I'm giving username this, I'm able to log in straightly because the page is not verifying the password at all. Okay, this is a vulnerability. You guys are getting what I'm trying to say, right? So I did nothing. If I am a normal user who don't know fundamentally anything about security or something, if I am, let's say instead of this, if I am just giving Instagram or something, if I am trying to take advantage of somebody other account, if I try to tamper with some details, I'm good to go, right? So for that reason, this AI agent related browsers, they want to keep a check and all. So I don't know how it will be turned out in future, but this is just a demo I just wanted to give. Okay, so that's it for today guys, and I'm sincerely asking you to follow up with whatever the topics I have shared with you till now we discussed. I'll share the presentation and I will advise you to go with what is cryptography, and additional task which I am giving is go with difference between, I'm just checking here, so difference between salting, hashing and encryption and encoding. So this is the task for you guys. Dig deep, try to understand whatever you can, and if you feel you stuck somewhere, come to me. Okay, are we clear with today's brief?
Clear.
Okay. Yeah, thank you all, and one more thing, please do visit this sportsfigure.com, and if you go for products, you can see Burpsuit Community Edition. I sincerely advise everybody to install on your device. So all the labs you need to complete. So if I'm sincerely suggesting, like if you complete these labs, you are ready to go and join in any organization on web application security thing. Okay, sincere advice, please do it. We will connect tomorrow, whether it may be 10:30 or 11:30. I'll give you in group, but take this seriously. Utilize this 20 days as much as possible. Master yourself. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.